Let's start the exercise that is given on page number 175, and we will complete the worksheet today. You will do with pencils only. I have done it with pen because you may have some visibility issues if I do it with pencil. So you will use only pencil in your books. Let us take up the worksheet. Part A. Question number 1. A magnet loses its magnetic property by. So we are given 4 options and we have to tell by which option a magnet it loses its magnetism. Its magnetic property is lost by which of these options? By using, by storing, by hammering, or by cleaning. So yesterday only we discussed demagnetization, means when a magnet loses its magnetic property we call it the process of demagnetization. And by what process it happens? It happens with hammering. If we beat the magnet with a hammer, then its magnetic property will be lost. Question number 2. A magnetic compass tells us about. So what information is given by a magnetic compass? As we know that magnetic compass, it contains a needle, magnetic needle, and it shows us direction. When a freely suspended magnet is lying, it will always rest in north-south position. So it is telling north-south direction. So here we can write the option C is the correct answer, that a magnetic compass, it tells us about direction. Next question. A steel blade can be magnetized with the help of a magnet by what process we can convert a steel blade into a magnet? Firstly, we know that only magnetic substances can be magnetized. They can become temporary magnet by some process. So the substance should be magnetic in order to be a magnet. So how, by what process we can induce magnetism? By rubbing, because by hammering or by dropping or by heating, these are the methods of demagnetization. But by rubbing, by touch method, rubbing means to touch it. So by touching method, by rubbing method, we can induce magnetism in a steel blade. So the answer will be part A. Question number 4. If two unlike poles of a bar magnet are brought near each other, you have to read the question very carefully. Unlike poles he is asking, and we know the repulsion property of a magnet, that like poles always repel and unlike poles they always attract. So here he is asking, unlike poles of a bar magnet, if they are brought near each other, unlike poles, different, so they will attract each other, because same pole or like pole they repel each other, but unlike pole they attract each other. So the answer will be part B, that is attract each other. Next part, the two ends of a bar magnet are called points, edges, poles, or ends. So what do we call them? As we consider Earth as a big bar magnet, a huge magnet, and it also has North Pole and South Pole. So the two ends of any magnet, when they rest in north-south direction, we call them north and south poles. So the two ends of a bar magnet, they are called as the poles. So the answer will be part C, that is poles. Now let us come to part B. The circle the odd one and give the reason for your choice. So you have to circle the option which you think is odd out of these things, and you have to give the reason why do you think that this option is odd in that, which is not matching these. So let us take up the first part. Iron, steel, plastic, and nickel. So when I read these words, you must be able to understand that plastic is something different here. So how is it different? All these are metals, and plastic, what is different about this? Because all these are metals and they are magnetic. We can say these metals are magnetic metals, magnetic substances, but plastic is not a magnetic substance. Though there are metals which are not magnetic, but here these you will consider as these all three are magnetic metals, magnetic substances, but plastic, it is non-magnetic substance here. Now let's come to the next option, copper, iron, pencil, and rubber. So here we are given copper and iron, they are the metals, and pencil and rubber, they are non-metal substances. So what is the different thing about which one you can say that which is the odd one? Here iron will be the odd one because iron is magnetic and all other three options they are non-magnetic. So the answer will be iron because it is magnetic material. Part 3, rubbing induce hammering, it demagnetize, heating it also demagnetize, and dropping also demagnetize. So here rubbing is the answer because it induce magnetism. It is different because it is a method of inducing magnetism in the magnetic substance. It is used to make temporary magnet out of magnetic substances. So rubbing is the different part here. It is the odd one here because it induces magnetism while other they remove magnetism. Next part, floppy, CD, videotape and television. So which thing is different? Which one is odd here? Television is the odd one here because in floppy, in CD and in videotapes, their surface is coated with magnetic material in them. But television, its surface is not coated with magnetic material. So it is the odd one here. So it is different here. Now let us take up the fill in the blank portion. Question number 1. The materials which are attracted towards a magnet are called. So many times in different questions we have discussed this thing that the materials which are attracted by a magnet, what do we call them? Magnetic materials. They are attracted towards a magnet, while those which are not attracted towards a magnet we call them non-magnetic materials. Paper is not a magnetic material. Paper is not a magnetic material. It is a non-magnetic material. A magnet always has dash poles. So how many poles? 2 poles, north pole and south pole. So we have the answer is 2, that a magnet always has 2 poles. Like poles repel, whereas unlike poles attract each other. Means like pole they will go away from each other, whereas the unlike pole they will try to come close. They will attract each other. The last one, the strength of a magnet is negligible at its center. So we have performed one activity also regarding this, that where do we find the maximum magnetic strength in a bar magnet? At the poles, at the north pole and south pole there is maximum magnetic strength. And when you carry out the experiment with the iron fillings, then you will observe that most of the iron fillings they will get attracted, they will get attached at the ends of the bar magnet. So the magnetism, it is negligible, means about 0. It is negligible at the center. Let us now come to the D part, that is match the following. So we have to see which word in the column A it will be matched with. Column B part, let us try to match them. First is iron and it will be matched with D part, that is attracted by magnet, that it is magnetic material. Then magnetic pole, it will be attached to A part, that is maximum magnetic force is there at the magnetic pole. Next one, ATM card, it has a magnetic strip, so you will connect it to B part, that is magnetic strip. ATM cards they have magnetic strips in them. Then comes the magnetic compass. The magnetic compass, what it does? Navigation. The magnetic compass, it has a magnetic needle in it and it helps in finding the direction. So it helps the navigator in navigation. So it is the answer that magnetic compass, it helps in navigation.